I actually have made up some of the quizzes because me and Ryan were further along, so we would make up the quizzes for you, which was really fun. It was definitely different because I was in control and I was making the questions, and I felt really smart.
Yeah.
It makes you feel really smart, and I did enjoy it. It's really fun, and I feel like I definitely understood it a lot better when I was the one making it up.
I was happy to go to chemistry and learn something.
This science class this year has definitely been my most useful science class I've ever taken.
Okay.
I've learned so much this year, and I actually really like this way of learning. I think it's very helpful. I love being able to work at my own pace and be independent, and your deadlines, they aren't
unreasonable.
Unreasonable at all.
My name is Amy Grace, and I have a learning disability. I'm dyslexic, and it is hard for me to read at times. It's hard for me to comprehend what I read. It takes me a while. I have to go over things, but it's helpful when I have more time to sit there and concentrate on what I'm reading and what I'm learning.
Is that given her dyslexia, she could read at her own pace, she could absorb the material at her own pace, and in another class specifically this year she had a lot of trouble because the pace was not suited to her, and she didn't have a lot of self-directed activities, and it just worked a lot better for her to be able to look at the information, go through it, learn it, converse with you, go over the weak areas, and it was a great system for her to learn, and she's done amazingly well.
I think it's very cool that you have the 80% mastery, because that gives students a chance to not fail your class.
Right.
And to retake it until they get it.
Figure this stuff out. I mean, it's also good to figure stuff out on your own, because you're going to learn it much better that way. If you are sitting there, you don't get it, you don't get it, you don't get it, and then, oh, now I get it, and your mind is going to remember that as, oh, like small victory, like I got this right, and then you're going to remember that when you're taking the test, like, oh, I kept making this mistake, but then I fixed it.
I actually never liked science until this year. I actually used to be really bad at science until this year. I don't know, like I just never have gotten the feel for science, I guess.
Okay.
But this year it's it's really changed.
I don't learn super well in the standard way. I learn slower usually, but I found I could keep up much better with this because it was more at my own pace and it was much more motivating. This is the first class that I haven't been required to study for something and actually did study. Everything else,
really?
I don't like studying ever for anything, and I'm always required to for stuff. Like if I don't know the stuff very well, my parents said, you have to study for this because you don't know it. But this class, I felt like I really knew whether I knew it or not, and if I didn't, I felt motivated to study because I was like, I can't blame anyone else for this. I've taught myself it. I can't blame the teacher. I can't say it's their fault. It's only my fault if I don't do well in this, so I have to know it.
And then you chose me to be one of the little table leaders. Since everyone's learning on their own pace, and you saw how some kids were excelling more than others, and maybe some kids weren't as getting the system still as much. So you would put the people who understood it a little more as a table leader. So we could have the kids who needed help, we could kind of guide them and be like, just do this module here, get this done today, so they don't have to stress about just focusing on doing it themselves. They had someone to tell them what to do, which is more structured, it's easier for someone to understand.
It is easy to collaborate with other people in it. The only thing that makes that difficult is because not everyone's always at the same place as you, but you'll find maybe 2 units in, you'll know the people that work at the same speed as you, and then those are the first people you go to. If you don't get something, you go to a classmate who you know works about the same speed as you, and you'll say, hey, did you get this? And you can go on with them, and then if they don't, you can just go ask Ms. Garfield.
The biggest thing that I noticed as a parent this year in her chemistry class was the lack of stress that she experienced, because she was in control of what she was doing, when she was learning, how she was learning it, at her own pace, and it made a tremendous difference in her stress level at home. And I think that as a parent, that's what you can hope for all the time for your child, for them to have a great learning environment.
When the teacher's not up there going, learn this, learn this, learn this, and just talking, if my brain shuts off for a minute in this, my brain fully shuts off for a minute, I walk around the class, talk to somebody, get some tea, do something, and then I sit back down and I'm right where I left off. If I get up to go to the bathroom in a different class and I come back, I've missed that whole section and I'm not going to be able to just make that up. I think it's important that I can stop learning something. When my brain stops learning something, I think it's important that I'm not missing stuff while that happens, because then I can work at my own speed. So I know when I stop, it's not going on ahead of me and I'm not going to miss.
The way the information was presented was very important. It was a variety of different kinds of presentations, and I think the PowerPoint specifically is really good because it breaks it down into much more manageable chunks, rather than having a book that is 500 pages thick and you're reading a page at a time. Having the PowerPoint for her and breaking it down into smaller sections, modules, it was a great way for her to absorb the information and not feel overwhelmed.
I guess I used to be more shy when it came to like asking questions of like my classmates and stuff like that, but now I really can just be like, hey, like I don't get this, can you help me out, like do you know what's going on, like what's up with that?
Well, I'm used to like sitting in a classroom, having the teacher up front. That's what I thought you were gonna do, and I was ready for that. I mean, that's how teachers teach. They'll give you the information, you take a test, you're done, you don't learn anything. Like, you leave the classroom, I don't remember anything from 11th grade. Came to you, was wondering if you and Miss Tushka, your TA, right, could just kind of have me sit there in front of the class, have you stand in front of the board, and just tell me what I should learn for on the test. But you didn't want to do that. This one went in there, you said, teach yourselves. It's like, huh? So I kind of fought it a little bit. It was more like it's not teaching yourself, it's learning how to, I guess more of like when you go to college, your professors teach you in a way, but if you don't understand something, you can't go back to them and talk to them. You have to kind of learn it on your own. So this helped me a lot to kind of find the information myself, find certain strategies to work things out myself. You explained to us how to do it first. Started out with the modules. We had the modules to start with. Pretty easy. I wasn't used to it, and I don't like change. So
change is hard.
I was confused, so I just kind of blew it off and didn't do it.
And did you fall behind?
I had 42 in that class.
And you raised your average above 42%?
Because at first I thought I was down and out. 42, first quarter, I'm done. And then you explained that you could change it, so I could have an A if I wanted to the first quarter. And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
Were you able to go back and complete some of the work that had been incomplete?
That was the best part. Yeah.
That was the best part.
Because most teachers don't do that. If you didn't complete something first quarter, they're not going to go back. They're going to keep it as 0. But for us in the mastery learning, if we did it, we still got credit for it. And that means we're working towards something, and you saw that, so you would go back and fix it for us. Even though, isn't it hard on you to do that?
Yes, it is, actually. So does that mean you went back and you did notes and you did quizzes and you did tests? You did all of those things. And then by the end of the first semester, what was your average?
Was it still an A, right?
Yeah.
But no, you guys helped me a lot. And then I kind of felt people are on my side. They want me to do good. They want me to succeed. So it kind of helped me to help the other kids too, because maybe they're in the same position I was. I used to not be a team player.
Okay.
But now at work and everything, I'm kind of, if I see someone's not doing as well, I'll probably help them out a little bit instead of being more selfish and focusing on myself.
Wow. So you think that you have earned or gained like maybe some kind of empathy and willingness to meet someone where they are and carry them forward?
Because I was at that spot. I was at the lower part. And I know how it felt, and I don't want people to feel like that.
Wow.